What if the king of late-night television saw through the glitz and glamour to the ugly truth about some of Hollywood's biggest names? For 3 decades, Johnny Carson, the charming host of The Tonight Show, welcomed America's brightest stars into our homes, his quick wit and warm grin making every guest seem like a friend. But when the lights dimmed and the audience left, Carson's smile often vanished. Close confidants revealed he kept a mental list of celebrities he couldn't stand. Stars he believed hid monstrous behavior behind their polished personas. From vicious outbursts to chilling power plays, the stories Carson shared privately paint a jaw-dropping picture of fame's darker side. And the worst part? One actress's backstage cruelty nearly brought a young staffer to tears, while a beloved icon's disturbing actions almost had Carson calling the cops. Let's dive into the first name on Carson's blacklist, a Hollywood legend whose icy heart shocked everyone. Joan Crawford was the epitome of old-school glamour when she glided onto The Tonight Show in 1970. Her poised elegance and dazzling smile captivated viewers, making her seem like the perfect movie star. But behind the scenes, the woman who starred in Mildred Pierce was anything but warm. She was colder than a winter storm, Carson reportedly confided to his biographer years later. Before she even stepped foot in the studio, Crawford sent a list of demands so precise it read like a military operation. Lights angled just so, Johnny's desk at an exact height, and a studio temperature locked at 67 degrees. No more, no less. She even brought her own makeup team, dismissing the show's award-winning artists. The real chill came when a 20-year-old production assistant, new to the industry, made the mistake of entering Crawford's dressing room with a requested glass of water. Witnesses say Crawford unleashed a tirade so brutal, calling the young woman useless and hurling insults that can't be repeated here, that staff in the hallway stood frozen. The assistant fled in tears, and Crawford demanded her firing. Carson's team refused, sparking tension that lingered all day. On camera, though, Crawford was a machine of charm, every laugh and gesture rehearsed to perfection. It was like interviewing a mannequin, Carson told Ed McMahon afterward. Years later, when Mommy Dearest exposed Crawford's alleged cruelty at home, Carson wasn't shocked. "I saw her true colors in one day," he said. But if Crawford's coldness was unsettling, the next star's raw power was downright intimidating. Frank Sinatra swaggered onto The Tonight Show with the charisma of a legend, his easy banter and crooner charm lighting up the screen. To viewers, he and Carson were pals, trading jokes like old buddies. But backstage, Carson saw a different man, one who wielded his fame like a weapon. Without that voice, he'd be shaking down shopkeepers, Carson once quipped to a friend, a nod to whispers of Sinatra's mob ties that still circulate on X today. His appearances came with an entourage of tough-looking men who patrolled the studio, making staff feel like they were under watch. During one early 70s taping, a floor manager, a seasoned vet who'd seen combat in Korea, gave Sinatra the standard 3-minute cue. Sinatra grabbed him by the tie, snarling, "Nobody tells me my time." The man was rattled, and Carson, watching on a monitor, nearly pulled the segment. Only the promise of sky-high ratings kept it on air. Another time, during a break, Sinatra made a cruel jab about a female staffer's looks, loud enough for all to hear. Carson, usually calm, shot back, "That's not how we talk here." The crew noticed Carson's questions got shorter, his patience thin. Sinatra's last-minute cancellations didn't help. One time, he bailed 2 hours before taping, already in the building, just because he wasn't feeling it. Carson finally had enough, telling his producer, "Once a year, Max." And that wasn't the only star who pushed Carson's limits. Another thought he was above the rules entirely. Orson Welles was a cinematic titan, his Citizen Kane fame preceding him when he took The Tonight Show stage. His booming voice and wild stories made for must-watch TV, but Carson saw a man whose ego dwarfed his talent. "He thinks he's running the Roman Empire," Carson griped after one chaotic appearance. Welles treated the show like his personal playground, dismissing prepared questions as dull and handing back a blank script to writers. In a mid-70s taping, his 7-minute slot ballooned to nearly 25, as he ignored Carson's subtle cues to wrap up, forcing the show to cut 2 other guests. Staff were treated like props. Welles spoke to them in the third person, barking orders like, "Tell the boy to fix the light." He even tried directing camera angles from his seat, leaving Carson fuming. "Genius doesn't give you a free pass to take over," he told Ed McMahon. Welles's disregard for the show's structure was a masterclass in arrogance, but the next guest's sharp tongue cut even deeper. Bette Davis, with her commanding presence and razor-sharp wit, seemed like a dream Tonight Show guest. Her tales of Hollywood's golden age enthralled audiences, but off-camera, her behavior was a nightmare. "She belongs in a courtroom, not a studio," Carson once muttered. Davis didn't just talk, she dominated, interrupting younger guests, especially women, and turning her back on them mid-show. Backstage, her whiskey-fueled rants shocked even the 70s crew with remarks so offensive they'd spark outrage today. When she berated a cue card holder for moving too slowly during rehearsal, Carson stepped in, calmly but firmly saying, "We treat everyone with respect here, Miss Davis." She backed off, stunned. Her talent was undeniable, but her cruelty left a mark. "Life's too short for her kind of venom," Carson told his producer after her final appearance in the early 80s. But while Davis's barbs stung, the next star's actions crossed a line that made Carson's blood boil. Mickey Rooney, a child star turned Hollywood legend, should have brought nostalgia to The Tonight Show. Instead, his visits in the mid-70s were marred by behavior that left female staff uneasy. Recent ex-posts from 2023 echo what crew members whispered then. Rooney's hands wandered where they shouldn't. Young assistants dreaded his bookings, reporting unwanted touches and suggestive comments. He thought his fame excused it, a former staffer recalled. During one 1977 segment, Rooney, visibly unsteady, veered into an inappropriate Judy Garland story, forcing Carson to pivot fast. "Is he drunk? Or is this just him now?" Carson asked during a break. After Rooney made crude remarks about a young actress on the same episode, Carson apologized to her personally, vowing, "That won't happen again." He limited Rooney to pre-taped segments, a rare move. But if Rooney's conduct was unsettling, the next guest's demands turned the show upside down. Zsa Zsa Gabor's glamorous flair and Hungarian charm made her a Tonight Show staple, her quips about her many marriages drawing laughs. But her backstage demands were no joke. "I'd rather interview a feral cat," Carson once said. Her rider demanded a 74-degree dressing room, orchids, never carnations, and Perrier with exactly 3 ice cubes. She once halted taping over the wrong foundation brand, screaming until Carson himself called her, saying, "Zsa, you're stunning. Let's get this show rolling." Her delays forced overtime for crew and kept other guests waiting. "Next time, tell her it's the Zsa Zsa show, and I'll play second fiddle," Carson joked to his producer. Her entertainment value kept her booked, but the chaos she caused was legendary. And yet, another guest's unpredictability made even Zsa Zsa seem tame. Shelley Winters, a 2-time Oscar winner, brought a wealth of stories to The Tonight Show, but her fiery passion often exploded into chaos. "She doesn't talk, she ignites," Carson said after one wild appearance. Winters ignored the show's light-hearted vibe, diving into intense political rants that left Carson scrambling. In the mid-70s, a simple film question spiraled into a 5-minute tirade on government corruption, derailing the segment. Her volatility wasn't just verbal. Her reputation for throwing objects on other sets made Tonight Show staff hide anything breakable. Yet Carson respected her sincerity. "She means every word," he told his producer after a Vietnam War rant. Still, her appearances dwindled as Carson favored guests who fit the show's vibe. But the next star's views pushed Carson to a rare breaking point. Jane Russell, a 40s and 50s icon, seemed perfect for The Tonight Show with her sultry charm and film legacy. But after a few early 70s appearances, she vanished from the guest list. Why? Carson couldn't stomach her hardline views, especially her treatment of LGBTQ+ staff. Ex-posts from 2023 highlight her alleged refusal to work with a gay makeup artist and her snub of Rock Hudson over his private life. Carson, protective of his diverse crew, was livid. The final straw came in 1973, when Russell's off-mic comments dismissing civil rights laws reached Carson. "Johnny didn't ban many, but she crossed a line," a producer said. Her absence spoke louder than words. But the final name on Carson's list was the one he despised most. Jerry Lewis, comedy icon and telethon hero, was a Tonight Show regular, but his backstage behavior was anything but heroic. "Ego bigger than his talent," Carson once said. Lewis didn't just disrespect staff, he belittled Carson, talking over him, and once adjusting his tie on air, a deliberate power move. He called crew camera guy or makeup girl, ignoring their names. In one shocking incident, he halted rehearsal to berate a cameraman for coughing, yelling, "Professionals don't breathe like amateurs." Carson's disgust peaked at Lewis's hypocrisy. Teary telethons for kids contrasted with his cruel treatment of staff. "He's the worst kind of fake," Carson told friends at a private dinner. By the early 80s, Lewis was effectively banned, a rare move for Carson. Johnny Carson's blacklist, Joan Crawford, Frank Sinatra, Orson Welles, Bette Davis, Mickey Rooney, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Shelley Winters, Jane Russell, and Jerry Lewis, reveals a hidden truth about Hollywood's golden age. For 30 years, Carson saw past the glamour, spotting the cruelty and ego others missed. He had a knack for seeing the real person, a longtime producer said. His judgments carried weight because he had no reason to lie. At the top of his game, he risked nothing by staying silent. Yet he spoke privately of stars who mistreated those with less power, from assistants to crew. Today, with X buzzing about these legends' flaws, Carson's insights feel prophetic. Back then, studios buried bad behavior to protect profits. Now, one viral clip could end a career. Carson's legacy reminds us that fame often hides a darker truth. What do you think? Were these stars victims of their time, or just plain cruel? Share your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe with the bell icon to catch our next exposé on a 90s TV star whose on-set meltdowns left everyone stunned.